Hi Adit, yeah, we can get started.
Yes.
Okay, let me share my screen. So yesterday, in the previous class, we were talking about the application that was created by us, wherein we try to understand how the component structure is looking. Okay, so today we will try to start with one small project, which will use it for the demonstration of the entire application. So we'll try to dig deeper into how this exactly works, and uh, how we can basically build scalable applications with React.js. Okay, so
Or even one question before you start.
sorry, Adit?
One question before you start.
Yes, yes, yeah.
I was going through the JSX, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there I saw browser won't be understanding the JavaScript or whatever we have written, right? So we need a transpiler. Uh,
Correct. Mm.
they would be using either Babel or TypeScript. They have mentioned like that. So
Well, mm,
before the build process itself, it gets converted to the version compatible thing, and then the browser try to render those things. So here
correct.
transpiler, they have mentioned it right, either
Mm-hmm.
Babel or TypeScript.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So why they have? I mean, they're saying that TypeScript they're using. I mean, uh,
Yeah.
even
So
yeah.
So Babel is one transpiler that you have, and what TypeScript does is, so there is this TS config. So let's say if you are using TSX, so as I said, you can either use JSX or TSX. Let's say if you are using TSX, TypeScript is not directly understood by your browser, right? Your browser understands JavaScript only. So in order to convert your TypeScript to the compatible version of the browser, or whichever version your browser understands, so you can use these converters or the TS config. So TS config is used to convert your TSX into understandable JS that you have, or you can use Babel. Babel is basically a very generic transpiler. It is not just built for JS. Okay, it even transpiles your HTML, CSS, and other majorly these three. It's not just for your JavaScript. So either way, you can use both. I mean, so if you are using TSX, you will be having TS config for it. Yeah.
But
Okay. Let us start with a simple application. Okay. I'm creating a new React application here, where we will try to build a little bigger application for the demonstrations from now on. Okay. I'll try to use the
remember for
Mhm.
ID, right? What and all
Mhm.
extension is required? You can mention so that I can.
Extensions.
What and all extension is required, right, for VS Code to download?
Okay, I'll show you a few extensions that you might find useful. Let me show. I'm using multiple extensions actually. One is the first major thing that you might require is GitHub. So GitHub is one extension that you can use, and all the extensions that are related to React, you can add them. Okay, so I think most of the extensions that I have on React, I installed them. React Native, simple code snippets. ES7 or yeah, I'll give you one important list. Yeah. First install this ESLint,
Yes.
ESLint. Then Prettier, ESLint, Prettier. These are very basic. And there is one good extension, that is tab9. Tab9 is also good. It is used as an autocomplete feature for JavaScript. It gives you suggestions to fill your code. Okay. Let me open a folder. We'll try to create an application from the scratch. Stop. Yes, bootcamp. Hmm. I'm using the basic create React app to create my application here. npx create React app. I'm creating OTT app. Okay, we'll just try to create some small interface which resembles an OTT platform or something like that. We'll use some open source code in order to understand this. So we can even use the latest way of installing the React application. You can use Next.js also, but it is little advanced, or you can say this is for the production level. So currently you might not find it that useful as you are the beginner, as you guys are beginners, So it is tough to understand how to work with Next.js and all. So eventually you can create, or you can also do one thing, just try to run this application, run this command and see how the structure is going to be. Either way you can do. You can even explore Next.js probably after completing or understanding React completely. Else it would be totally disconnected. Okay. I think it got started. The application is ready. I'm saying CAD, OTT app, go into that folder and then run npm start. Okay. I have my scripts starting my server. This is the application that got rendered. Okay. So what we will do now is from now on, the speed of this session is going to increase a little bit because we need to kind of cover a lot of things. So try to catch up. The first thing that we will try to do here is to understand uh, the structure. So you have the same index.html created. We have app.js. So I'm clearing the app.js. I don't want uh, this default. I don't want this chakra of React and all the other stuff that is here. So just deleting the HTML, which is in my app.js, deleted the header. I want it to be clean. So as soon as you do it, it reflects all. It automatically gets reflected here. Okay, the server auto starts. So this is identified by your, there is one extension. See how exactly my changes are getting reflected instantly is there is one of the example that I'm giving here. Nodemon is a library which runs in the background. So what it does is it automatically identifies the changes in the JavaScript that you're doing in your IDE or your VS Code, and it uh, reflects the changes directly onto the browser. Okay, you no need to restart the server. It automatically restarts the server for you. Okay, all right. So here for us, let us go to the app.js. Okay, let us try to build few things here. All right. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is, see, I'm trying to build one OTT application or some page, okay, or some application. So in this application, normally what happens is I need to have some navigation. I need to have a login page, some sign up page, you can say, and some pages and home page and sub pages inside it. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I will try to create the navigation first. Let us first establish the navigation and then talk about the functionality. And this is one of the major part of React. So this navigation, there is a term for it, which is also called as uh, routing. You can say, you can call it as routing navigation. There are multiple names to it. So we will first focus on routing in React.js. So pretty simple. It just tells you how to navigate from one page to the other page. So for this, as I told you, React is a library, but not a framework. It doesn't offer you any default features of doing the navigation. So you need to depend on something which is available in the open source. Sorry. So um, looking from the perspective of the person who discovers, let's see implement. Let's see how what all other options we have. Routing, or let me use very simple terms, implement navigation of pages in React.js. Let's see what all options we get. The reason why I'm searching here is we never know. Like there could be just a new package that would have uh, been in the market from a while, which became popular just in a month or so. So see, React.js in-page navigation. So you have some procedure. React anchor link, smooth scroll. Acha, okay. So if you see, understand this. Now install the dependency. So here, till here, right? npx create React app. Okay, fine. Then what he's saying, you need to install a separate package. First of all, but they don't talk about why you should install it. But in a single line, they mentioned, now install the dependency. Okay. So now what is this dependency? What does these dependencies mean? This is the important part here. So dependencies of React for page navigation, or I would say best dependencies for page navigation. So the first result I got was React navigation, a library itself. If you see, here what I see is let us first understand why is it useful. Routing and navigation for Expo and React Native apps. But we are not talking about React Native. We are not talking about mobile development. We are talking about web development. So this doesn't match. Go further. I saw something called React Router, the ultimate web navigation library. Okay, let's have a look at it. So React Router is this. If I go down, so React Router is a fully featured client and server-side routing library for JavaScript. Okay. It is used to build user interfaces. It runs anywhere. React runs on the web, on the server with Node.js and on React Native. Okay. So this can be used for both React Native and React.js. But React navigation, this is only for Expo. Expo applications are nothing but mobile applications, hybrid applications, you can say. If you don't know what is a hybrid application, for example, of course, they just act like, your normal Android application. But I'll tell you one difference. If you take Domino's applications or Pizza Hut, the look and feel of the application on a mobile phone is different. They are basically hybrid apps. Means they are built using JavaScript, but not native script of Android or iPhone. So that is your React Native. So eventually you can learn what is this React Native. You can build applications, mobile applications by writing the same React code. Nothing changes. That is the major benefit. But anyway, that is React navigation is .org is totally for mobile, so that doesn't work. But what I can understand from here is React router is something which can be used for both. So I no need to put some extra effort to learn it. So routers help create and navigate between different URLs that make up your web application. They allow your user to navigate across. Okay, that's good. In this blog, we'll be touching about, okay, these are the concepts, how to configure the routes, navigating with the link. Okay, these are some basic things that we will understand. And the installation, so how to use it and all, they're anyway gonna talk here. So what we will do is, first I want to look at the actual documentation. That is the first thing you need to do. Blogs are just to get some basic guidance. Let's understand what is this React Router DOM. So this is the official page 6.4. This version number is very important. Okay. Whenever you are using any dependency, identifying the version numbers is very important because compatibility changes. For example, the React router stopped giving support from React 19, but you know only React router. Will you use it? If your company uses React 19, but React router is not compatible to it, will you use it? Obviously, no. So, what we will try to do is here, we will see key whether this is compatible with your application or not. Okay, so 6.4 is totally compatible with uh, this. So one sec. Yeah, your 6.4 is totally compatible. Let us try to install it. Now, how to get started is the question. So they directly jump into the code, go to the tutorial. See, adding a router. Okay. They're not even talking about the installation if you observe. These documentations, they suck, but we have no other option other than following this. Okay, let me do the setup first. Okay, I'll show you how to do the setup. So let's go with this then. I gave in a very simple manner. First, you need to install the dependency because, as I told you, React comes with nothing. Is a library. So I'm opening the console. I'll open a different console. Okay. You should be in the same folder where your application is. So go to cd ott-app. So one thing to remember here is whenever you're installing the dependencies, make sure you're installing in the same place where your package.json is. You should, so where is your package.json? It is inside my ott-app. So you need to install it in the same folder. Don't get confused. So I'm navigating to that library, that folder, and say npm install react router DOM @ mentions the version of it, 6.
Raven,
So I'm, yeah, yes,
sorry to interrupt. But do we need to simultaneously um, go through the steps you do, or
not needed. Just listen to it. When you're looking at the recording of the video, you can do the steps.
okay?
Because if we're doing simultaneously, we cannot cover the portion. But you can, when you're trying, if you have any questions, you can ask in the chat, or yeah, you can just show the error. I will help you out.
Sure. Hemant.
Yeah. So I'm installing this React router. Now see what happens. So it basically downloads everything for you. It downloads everything and it says 3 packages are added. These many are audited. This is all fine. Vulnerabilities, this is fine. You might get it, not a problem. To address all issues, not needed actually, unless you have some serious vulnerability concern. Uh, this is not needed to be done. So now what changes here is, if you go to your package.json, how to verify that this package got downloaded and added to your project is, if you see React router DOM 6.18. Acha, I got the latest version then. Sometimes you can even write @latest here. @latest, that gives you the latest version of it. Okay, so 6.18.0 is the version that I got. Okay, now once it is in your package.json, if you observe, it is listed in the dependencies. Okay, so this is a dependency but not a dev dependency. When we use a dev dependency, I'll let you know how exactly it, or let me install one and show you. Let me install npm install ESLint. I hope I am correct. Save dev. So this command, let's see what ESLint is, whether I'm using the correct command or not. ESLint, okay. Yeah, it is correct. So ESLint, as I told you, it is used to identify, and report some errors in your current JavaScript. So whichever JavaScript version that you're using, whether it is ES6 or ES5, it basically makes you to lets you confine to that particular version. You might write let and var in the same JavaScript code, but that is not a good practice. Either you stick on to ES5 or ES6, not both. Don't mix both. So I'm installing it as a dev dependency. Now, what do you mean by dev dependency is, see, I'm installing it. Whenever you're installing a dev dependency, at the end, you use --save -dev. That makes it a dev dependency. Now, what exactly is this dev dependency is, this particular library doesn't really care about the functionality of the application. It is not related to the functionality. It just helps a developer who's developing it. That is a dev dependency. You might see ESLint, it helps me as a developer, it helps me to write a particular code, or a code with less number of errors. Likewise, unit testing libraries. You'll eventually come across this term called unit testing. So unit testing, if you install any dependency for unit testing, they become dev dependencies, but not dependencies. But dependencies directly deal with the functionality of the application. Okay, so I installed it. See, now you can see this in dev dependencies. See, a new object got created here. Dev dependencies, ESLint, current version 8.53.0. Okay, that is the difference between these two. Okay, now I got my router installed, means I got the router package installed. So the first thing that you need to do is, if you look at I'll try to decode the documentation as much as possible, but it is still a little tough to understand it, but let's try. No wrong in trying. So go here, look at here. So the first thing that you need to do is, there is something called create browser router. Okay, so what does this create browser router do is, it basically, see, this is a recommended router for all React router project, uses the DOM history API. Okay, this is all fine. So basically what this does is, it basically set up your it is used to set up your router with your React application. If you remember, to your React project, you attached index.html. Who helped you to do it? React DOM helped you to do it. it established the connection. If you remember, we discussed it in the yesterday's class, right? React DOM is something that helped us in index.js. Now, in order to connect your router to your React application, the first thing that you need to do here is you need to import, see what I'm doing here. Import one of the functionality called browser router, comma. Yeah, let's do it as browser router. And from React router DOM. Okay. So what does this mean? From React router, and this name should match with whatever the name that you got when you install React router. Here, React router DOM, React router DOM. It should match, else it wouldn't know where you're getting this from. Okay. So browser router is basically a functionality which will help you to wind, or you can wrap your application into a routing, uh, your routing library. So what exactly that means is you are basically creating, or binding your entire application, uh, and giving it an ability to do navigation from one page to the other. Okay, you're enclosing it. So how to enclose it is what we will see now. Here in the return, I'm deleting this div. Okay, and I would say, so I'm deleting this completely. It is just a simple HTML, right? You can write whatever you want over there. I would say this is how you enclose it. Browser router. Okay. And now what you need to do is inside this, now, as I told you, what we are trying to do, we are trying to create multiple pages. I want a login page, sign up page. I want to see a page where I can see the movies, list of movies, or some random stuff. Okay. So to do that, to include all those pages, what you use is you use routes. Routes is a declaration here. Okay. Routes is one more functionality. And if you observe something, aren't you importing it like a component, just like the way we imported a component in the previous class or in the previous session? Means browser router is a component inside a user defined, sorry, the system defined library or a pre-existing library. You can say React router DOM. So browser router, and then I want to say the routes. I want to create a couple of routes. And the first route here is, so the first route that I want to create. Now, whenever you're creating a route, what you need to do is, so this is a component declaration. This syntax could be little new to you, but it's very simple. Like we are importing a component and embedding the component inside my app, the basic app that I have. Okay. So I got the route, and here see what I'm doing. I'm saying path. Path is nothing but the page name to which page you need to go to. So essentially what we are doing is, if you go to your favorite Zomato, if you go to the page number 1, you're seeing /India on the top. That is a route for India. What happens if I go to zomato.com? It is little different here. Okay.
Resources, right?
Sorry.
Resources, right?
Resources. I didn't get
And the URL, when it
it.
is updated, right? It will
Mm-hmm.
go and search for the resources, whatever resources we have given. Let's say now
Yeah.
it's home or
Mm-hmm.
different.
So there could be multiple routes. So let's say if I am navigating to dining, okay, look at the route I have, Nagpur dine out. There is a particular page that I got. So this route or this URL is mapped to this particular piece of HTML. Okay, so we will understand it. So this is the output that you would expect. Now what I'm saying here is, if I go to the path slash means nothing, it is a home page. If I go to the path slash, then what should happen is, I would say element is equal to I'm saying home. Now, what is this home exactly? Okay, we will see that. See, in the element, I am enclosing this home and I am closing the route path. Okay. What exactly this means is, if you go to the path, see, a user can navigate to whatever path he wants, right? See, I want to write zomato.com/home. See, it is just going to some page. I wrote home, but the route got changed and it landed me on some location. Let us say, let me give some random stuff here. Zomato.com/ABC. See, this page doesn't exist. They don't have any content over here, but still they're displaying something to you. They're still giving an option to, uh, order something or search for something. Likewise, what here essentially what you're saying is, I have multiple paths, but if the person goes to slash, land him on a component called home. Now, did we create the home component? Now again, what is component? As discussed, a component is a piece of HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. Okay, means it is another page, you can say. It could be much bigger, it could be too smaller, up to you. So here what I do is, so this is a component is what I'm trying to say here. So let me create a component first. Okay. And moreover, yeah, this is important. So this is the home page, right? So I want to divide my components into two different categories. Okay, your HTML is HTML anyway. So if you look at Zomato, this is a page. Inside this, I have a drop-down section. This could be a component, or this entire page is a component. But pages and components, you have pages and you have pieces. You have these small pieces in the pages, right? A drop down, some text. This is also a component. So pages and elements in the pages. Okay. So I want to categorize these two into two things. One is my, see, I'm creating one folder here. In SRC, click on SRC, right click and click on new folder. I'm saying pages. Inside pages, I'm creating a new file, naming it as home.jsx. It's a simple JavaScript file. Okay. So inside home.jsx, what I'm trying to do is, I would just try to create some component here. It is going to be a React component. So I'm importing the features of React from the React. We already installed React, remember? And I'm writing a simple function, naming it as a home. Okay. And then let's just do something here. I'm returning a small division, naming it as homepage. And I'm exporting it. Exporting means you're giving some other component or some other JavaScript file an ability to import this. Export default home. This name and this name should match. Your home, the way you wrote home in line number 3 and line number 8 should match. And these two should match with where you're importing. Where are you importing? In app.js. So You need to import, no? So see here. If I it is showing red over here. If I hover on it, home is not defined because I didn't import it. You need to import it. Import home from, listen carefully. So here, how to write the root is dot. If you see app.js is in the same folder called src. So in the same folder means dot slash. In the same folder, go to pages, a folder called pages, and inside pages, I have home. That's it. So you created a home component inside a folder. Why are you creating inside a folder? Because I'm going to have lot many other pages going to come in, right? I want all these pages to be in a single place. And why are you organizing like this? Because your code should be readable. It should be, your application should be in such a way that it should be maintainable for the next 10, 20, or 30 years, right? So you need to make it comprehensive for other people to come and work on it. So this is very important. So app.js, likewise, you have route. So here, if you see, route is not defined. You need to import this route from React router. Okay, two major things you learned. And importing the components from a default library called React router, creating a custom component and importing it. Two things. And here, if you go to this path, show this element called home. Okay, let's test whether it is working fine or not. So if you go to the terminal, where is this terminal? Hmm. So your OTT app is already running. If you come and see here, see home page. If you go to see slash, your home page is good. Where is this term coming from? It is coming from my home page component. Let us create something like this. One more route. Okay. See, there is one more interesting concept here. I'm saying route path is equal to slash login. Show the element called okay element, and here you have, I'm going to create one component called login. Okay, that's why I'm writing it like this. Slash. This is also a page. So in pages, I'm creating one more file called login, capital L. If you observe, for all components I'm using capital L. I'm copying the same code from here, putting in the login component. I'm saying login page. Okay. If you go here, app.js, see, it is throwing an error here in your local 3000. Okay. Login is not defined, means you didn't import it. So you go here, import login from dot slash pages slash login. That's it. Now if you come here, see, I'm writing slash login. Now you are seeing login page. If I am saying just slash, I'm on the home page. Okay. See, the routing happened. Login. Likewise, you can create multiple components like this and attach them to the routers here. Okay. So you can create a number of pages and add a number of routes over here. All right. So now this next thing that we are going to do here is we will try to add some container and some stuff. Let us see. Clear till here? Any questions? We just implemented routing in React.js.
Very good.
Yeah. Okay.
Raymond, can you delete the
Hmm.
rest of the files which is not needed?
Which is not?
Needed logo thing.
Yeah, we can. Logo SVG, we are not going to use it. Delete. Report web vitals. We won't be using it. Delete. Unit testing, we are not doing. Delete. Doesn't make any difference. Favicon, probably it must be getting used somewhere. Not needed. Can delete all this stuff, not a problem. Manifest, not needed. Robots, we are not using. Git ignore, if you want to keep, you can. Yeah, git ignore is used for. Okay, we'll talk it when we're talking about Git. So we'll come to it. Now you might get confused. README, you can delete or keep, doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah, somewhere this logo is being accessed, if you observe. So that is the reason you are seeing this error. We can go and delete these things as well. Let us go there. Let me show you how to debug it. Control F, or actually here you need to do the Control F. Control F. I want to search across the folders. So just click on a new folder and write Control F, logo dot, oh, sorry. Logo dot svgc here. You're trying to import, but it doesn't exist. You can delete it. Likewise, see, it is remained with report web vitals. Search with that word. Hmm. Here. Now it works. Slash home doesn't exist, so it is not rendering any component if you observe. Right? Yeah. Let's come back to the code and let us try to understand how to create some container and then give it. Okay. So here, what I'm trying to do is I will go to the login page and then let us try to create some login stuff here. So here in the login page, let us build the login page first and then we'll come back to the other pages. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this return here, return brackets, delete this division. You can use something called a container. Okay. If you see, it is saying the container is not defined. So what we will do is we will use some, uh, you know, some CSS components in order to create the UI, the proper UI that we have. Okay. So what we will try to do is we are going to use something called Bootstrap here. Okay. So I'll show you how to install this Bootstrap and then use it. Let me install it for you. So either you can use a container, or first let me go with a div, then we will go to Bootstrap in a separate class, because we'll talk separately about CSS. Okay, for now just go to the distribution. But here what I want to do is I want to put some background image to my login page. Okay, so I would say, see, I'll show you how we can divide the components and make it more readable, make the code more readable. Okay, so what I'll do is in this page, I want to create a small section called login. If you go to this login, here I want to create a small section. Okay, in this section, I want to see some background image. Okay, means this page is also a component, but in this component, you have a sub component called background image. So we will see how to create a child component. So even for app.js, your login is a child component. You can call it that way. And inside login.js, whichever elements you have, all these elements would be child elements. Okay, parent-child relationship. So what I want to do is in SRC, I want to create a folder, name it as components. By this components, I mean the individual subsections that I'm going to have in my application. I'm saying it as background image dot jsx. Okay, I created a new component here. So in this background image, what I'm trying to do is I would say import React from React, import style from. Now I'll show you what exactly the style components is. So style components is nothing but, it is a combination of both your HTML and CSS together. Okay, so style components, if you see, this is used to generate, okay, CSS for component age. So styling your way with speed, okay, this is all fine. I'll show you an example. So basically, whenever you're writing the HTML, we saw creating the HTML using JavaScript. Okay, so likewise, you can create some HTML elements with more power, or you can create them dynamically. I'll show you how. Once you realize how this is going to be built, you will understand. But for before that, you need to install the style components, because this is an external library. Npm install style-components. Okay, it got installed. Go to package.json. See, style components added as dependencies here. And then I'll tell you the reason why we are creating this child components. Okay. Function background image, that is my component name. Okay. See, there are two different ways. You can even write export default before this function name also, than writing it at the end. In the previous approach, we wrote it at the end. You can do it like this as well, not an issue at all. And then what I'm saying is return a division, and that division will consist of, this is image tag img, and the source of this is basic HTML, and the source of this is, I want to include the image here. Okay. So for this, what I'm trying to do is I will download an image, a simple JPG file. Let me download it. Okay. Let me get an image from the internet. Okay. Movies wallpaper. Take any favorite image. Yeah, this seems good. Save image. So where I'm going to save this is, let me save it inside the folder itself. Where is this WordCamp? Inside OTT app. See, here I'm going to, in our folder, project folder only, I'm creating a new folder. See. Um, yeah. Oh, 1 second, let me do it simply from. I will create a separate folder because I want to put all these images in one place. I'm going to name it as assets. Assets could be your images or whatever you want to create. It should be, sorry, it should be inside your OTT app. So yeah, I got it inside it. So when you're downloading it, save image as in my JS bootcamp. Go to OTT app and save it here. Okay, it should get reflected. I'm moving this to assets folder. I will rename this. Okay. Rename. Login background. That is my image. Login background.jpg. I just downloaded it from the internet. Okay. Now come to the background component. Now you need to insert this image as a background of my login page. What I would say is you can even import your images inside your components with the import keyword. Okay. So go here. Here I would say import background from. So here observe something. Now where is my image? It is in my assets folder. If you observe carefully, just imagine that uh, background image is in a town called components. Your login background is in another town called assets. For my background image, this is the component, right? For my background image to reach the background login background.jpg, I need to first come out of components, my town, and my town is in a bigger district called SRC. I need to come out of SRC. Then I need to go and find another district, because if you observe, SRC and assets are in the same folder, OT2 app. Go to another district called assets, and then I will find login background.jpg. Okay, get it this way. So first I need to go out of my town, out of my folder. Double dot slash would represent it. Okay, what does that mean is it comes out of your uh, components folder, and then come again out of your SRC, and then you find assets. Double dot slash represents go out of the folder and find. Remember it that way. Okay, assets slash login background. Or you can also do one thing. You can put your assets folder inside SRC. You can basically keep it anywhere. But I think this would be a better approach. Okay, then one dot dot slash would reduce. It is just in the next town here. Come out of components folder, then you will find assets. From there, pick login background. Okay, and here you may ask, what is this background here? Did you give any name to it? So basically here what I'm saying is in line number 3, import this background image from this particular folder called assets and assign it a name called background. That's what you are saying in line number 3. So in SRC, I would say background. That's it. Okay. Now what happens is whichever image that you have in your background component, it is going to get imported into my division. Okay. See, if there is some yellow warning here, I'm hovering on it. See, image element should have alt prop either with meaningful text or an empty string for decorative images. So this is a ESLint. If you observe, it is coming from ESLint. Why did you get it? Because you have ESLint plugin added in your VS Code. Okay, that is the benefit of ESLint. It will give you the suggestions. So you need to have an alt so I'm giving it you can just give any text name here. Now let's look at the login page, how it is getting reflected. Where is my page? Let's see. Okay, it didn't display anything. Let us inspect it. Code web vitals is not defined. Here, if you observe, I'm not getting anything in my login page. Okay, let us see why. The reason is, if you see the okay, you made the background image and everything, that is good. You're exporting it, that is good, but I don't think you're importing it here. See, your login is empty. There is nothing in here. That's why you're seeing an empty page here. So what I want to do is, now you created a component. See, if you observe closely, the only duty of this component is return a division with image. That's it. It is not doing anything else. Okay. You may ask, why don't you add the image directly in login component? Okay, there is a reason for that. We will explore that eventually, but here we will just confine to creating a component. We'll come to that. Okay, so I exported this. Now I went to login.js. I would import it. I would say background image from this background image. I inserted that component here. Now let us see the image is getting displayed. Okay, so this is how you attach images. create assets, create components, pages. So this application is going to grow bigger and bigger. Okay, we'll come to that. So in this video, we just talked about setting up the application, reason for creating the components, how the React router works, what is the need of it, how to install it, how to create routes. If you see your app.js, we created routes, and we created two routes over here, path, element, and how to link your component to the route, and then create an asset or an image, and then attach that image to a component, display that component in another component. Okay, this linkage. So this would need rigorous practice. Please replay the video again and try to do the hands-on. Then you will easily understand. So don't worry if you are confused in getting the component structure and all. If we build the application more and more, you will realize why all this needs to be done. Okay, so that is it for today pretty much, and we'll catch up in the next one.
Even in this code, we have used different component, right?
Mhm.
Declaring